what level you might shoot for in getting there?
Well, we have the wherewithal, Brad, to have conversations at the highest level. We'll have those conversations. We won't get into the people that we'll call, but you can, and as you would imagine, our diligence is pretty thorough. So, and then we'll work our way down our priority list. We're breaking down the draft room right now, putting up our pro personnel room. David Fredman's in charge of that, and we look forward to jumping into that. And I think that's really the neat thing about where we're at. If someone really unique wants to say yes, we're in position to capitalize on that. And then if not, we have a very young, talented team that we expect to be much better next year.
General numbers, in terms of percentages, what you want to build from the draft, what you want from free agency, what you want from free agency?
Boy, I haven't thought about it in those terms, so if you want me to guess, I'm happy to guess. Yeah, so look, I think it's clear the template here is best. You build your base through the draft. I think that's where it starts. That was our dilemma, and I thought a good dilemma in San Antonio as well. We needed to draft very well, and then augment in free agency, and then parlay up via trade. With that said, again, I think we have a unique story to tell historically and currently. We have a very dynamic coach that I think it's clear that NBA players believe in and will gravitate towards, and so again, I thought, for example, last year that Trevor Booker was a very unique situation, and Quinn thought he played exceptionally hard, and then when he sat with us, you could just tell that he got it, and he was very competitive, and so now that Trevor, has moved from maybe a fourth big to a third big, the value in that decision is shown. So sometimes it won't be win the press conference with you guys, but it can be something that allows us to win games. So really we'll jump into it A to Z, but I think clearly we're going to have to build through the draft here now and going forward.
You touched on it a couple times briefly, but isn't the next stride for the team, regardless of how, unless something spectacular happens in free agency, the growth of this team is going to happen from the guys who are on it right now?
Within our best free agent, I've said this before, is Alec Burks. It's like he's a new addition. We're very excited that his progression with a shoulder injury has gone without any hiccups. He's put in great work. We're anxious to get him here for Summer League training camp. It's almost like he needs to be reintroduced to Quinn and the coach's system. The system is very nuanced. And so with that, then Dante's been here for a month. When it's all said and done before he leaves for Australia national team, he'll be here for 2 months. Rudy's been here a bunch. Several of our guys are here. So it's really, I wish I could open it up and show you guys what the environment is. It's very dynamic. It's very teaching oriented. And here, when you want to emphasize player development, you've got to create an environment. And if it's hard work to the point where it's obnoxious, the players will just go away. So the coaches have to have a little feel. There has to be a little give take. There has to be art. And as long as the players feel like they're being well taken care of here and well taught, it's not needed for them to go out and hire a personal coach. They have the resources here. So that's the environment we've tried to create. We wanted to have several workouts. We wanted to have a mini camp because we want our gym to feel alive when our players are here as well.
Do you want to use free agency to, I don't want you to give too much away, but you want to use free agency to kind of supplement what you have already, or do you want to use it to maybe bring in,
it's a fair question, and I get it, and I'll refer back to the first answer that I gave Brad. It's a little tough to frame. I don't want to build up expectations here and then under-deliver, but we'll have those conversations very aggressively, and we think we have a unique city and organization to sell with some really good players, and if that's jumping in at the highest level, we have the resources, and the Millers have approved that for us to spend all the way up to the cap. Again, if it's nobody as we sit today, and our team is the same that we go into training camp with, we're comfortable with that alternative as well, and that's exciting to us, Tony. So augmentation or more of a primary player, it's a little tough to frame right now.
You said even in terms of shooting, it like could be great in internal growth. I mean, is that growth enough to get to a playoff caliber team, a championship
Well, we'll be
team?
Judged if it's not, right? So,
or do you have to add? I mean.
So we could add in a couple of different ways, but again, I wish I could show the work that Rodney Hood's put in. And with us, the beauty in Coach and his staff is the grass isn't greener. In some ways, I wish he would come in my office and demand this player, but he's been great. And so when we have people calling us for Dante Exum, Quinn has stopped that. Right? He's like, I believe in him, I believe in his makeup, I believe in his insights. And so I could just tick that off. Slightly different conversation. So we have a real asset in Quinn that he's not going to put a guy in a box and leave him there. They're going to have to play within certain roles and concepts that the team in Quinn define, but he's also growing their games, and so you can see that in several ways. In last year's team, Derek favors 18-footer. Gordon's Hayward's level, his play level to allow him to finish better. He played lower. Trevor Booker never shot threes before. So when you come into it, many times, and I don't want to put too much pressure on the coaching staff, but this conversation came up a lot with our management team. Is our coaches are so good at developing this. I think even though he may be a little deficient or he doesn't do it, we can at least work on it. They see that environment, and again, maybe we'll get to the point where we'll share some of that. But it's a very unique teaching environment, and again, I think our greatest room for improvement is the internal improvement of the players that we already have, and we'll stand by that decision as well.
If you look back 2 years ago, Dennis, how did that deal with Golden State help you get where you are?
There's a lot of ways to look at it, so it's a great question. It gave us, look, it was a multi-pronged thought process. The biggest part is Derek and Gordon could no longer hide. They had to become prominent. And that first year was tough on them. Gordon talked about it in the exit interview. But it allowed them to both play better in year two, right? The other thing is we got money, and we want to respect the owner's money, and so that money paid for the purchase of Rudy Gobert. So in effect, we had 3 first-round picks, not 2. At least that's our rationale on how we applied that money. Rodney Hood, we felt like was a good pick, and so if you don't have those picks when someone does fall, and so again, guys, we've been very fortuitous and very lucky, but when you have more options out there, then you have more options to be lucky, because we're not going to get every decision right. So in many ways, Gordon and Derek's prominence, the procurement of Rudy and Rodney, we'll stand by the decision. It was painful. Delayed gratification always is, but as you can see, it's starting to bear a little fruit.
You made a friend in Pete Myers, I'm sure.
Pete Myers?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The Golden State.
Bob Myers.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, they've done well, right? And that's guys. Look, everybody talks about the deal where you do great and you smash the other team. Well, the problem is with those kind of deals, those are one-offs. If you do something, one that allows us to better their position, allows them to better their position, as you would imagine, we will have ongoing conversations going forward, and in our mind, that's the best way to do business, because at the end of the day, while we're competitors, we're partners. It's a 30-team league.
Came out last night that Boston Celtics tried to use 6 draft picks to move up to number 9.
This was coming. And I'm not surprised it's you either, Joe.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
It is a compliment.
Is that the range that, is that how expensive it was to move up?
According to Boston.
According to Utah.
According to Utah, like as you would imagine, we looked up, we looked back, we looked out. Out was very, there were a couple moments where I was vulnerable, and I didn't want to sit up in a press conference and have no players next to me and explain future assets, and then you guys say, here he goes again. So again, I said it last night. I thought we felt like I was updating Kevin O'Connor a lot through this process. And I was like, Kevin, you know how I hate the draft and I want to find a few players that I like, but there's good players here, and we felt it all along. And so the volume of activity validated that position, and there's an ironic twist to it. I think it's the reason why there wasn't as many trades as people, there were a couple players slide, because numerically somebody has to slide, and so it was very tough, in summary, to get those picks because it was a good draft, and it was tough to get the 12th pick because there were several good players available to us.
You mentioned the internal development. What are some specifics that guys like Dante and Rudy and those guys who are in town, what are they working on?
So there's some traditional things that we're doing that are unique in and of itself. So there's part of the workout you'd say, hey, it looks very similar to the average workout, and then there's some things that we're doing with balance, pivots, and some unique skill work that allows our players to have stronger core, stronger balance. Some of our coaching staff, just have great experience and expertise, and so they're progressing. They're progressing in some ways that I'm excited to see in the Utah Jazz Summer League here real soon, and I think it will pay dividends once we start playing regular season games.
You've talked about kind of that balance and pivoting yesterday too. What are kind of some of the on-court consequences of that? Why are you so excited that Trey is so balanced, for example?
Yeah, so the foot strike, if you will, is central to us functioning as adults, right? And the single leg strike is very important. We're all playing on two legs, but they're strides, and so to understand how guys are imbalanced, sometimes based upon injuries and compensation patterns, then there's just a lot of dynamic movements, but there are movements and patterns that if you study, if you have the video, if you have the data, if you have the coaching expertise to then apply what they see and replicate, you can create a unique deal. And one of the things that we had, it was really a 3-year job interview that Quinn had with me in Austin and San Antonio. We saw that every day. It was just a really unique, deeper dive towards footwork and towards balance, and so it also capitalized on some of the technology that we've added to the building. It's right in the same genre that our work towards P3, and what we're trying to do, one of the reasons why we hired Jeff Watkinson is, as you saw, as applied assistant coach and in coordination of all those efforts of medical services from an athletic training standpoint, from a strength and conditioning standpoint, which was Watt's primary background, and then skill development. And so to help coordinate that and make sure it's well communicated, that we're doing not too little, not too much, the right, and pardon the pun here, the right balance for those things. So I think over time, maybe not instantly, but over time will provide us some advantage relative to the league.
I noticed Ken Pomeroy and some of his assistants or whatever at some of the workouts and whatnot. How much did advanced metrics play into your decision?
Yeah, we believe in it. We believe in the data. Look, Ken's a rock star as far as his website, and he gets a lot of references. And he was a friend of mine when I was in Houston. I got to know him there first, and we always kept in touch, and now is an opportunity for us to work together. He's part of that group, and we have another consultant, an analytics consultant that works in conjunction with Ken, and then we have Taylor Snar and Bart Taylor that both have math backgrounds, and so those efforts are a big piece of the puzzle. But look, there's scouting opinion, there's coaching opinion, there's medical, there's our athletic testing, there's the opinion of the workout and the skills that they have, and then there's the math. And really, if you're doing it well, you want to create an environment where all of those departments are working together, and and there's not a domineering personality or department that can squash opinion. That's the neat thing about what we're trying to create here is a real open environment where everybody can feel free to share their opinion, and you have to work on that just because the whole analytic front, is relatively new compared to some of the more traditional scouting, and we have to systematically make sure that they have a voice, and I think we do a decent job there, and we have some talented guys, and it was a big part of our process.
Boston will be here for the summer league, and
yeah.
Have you ever kind of thought you and the Celtics are on kind of a parallel track in the rebuilding?
It's a great question. Yeah, there's a very good comparison of us and a couple of teams in the same bucket of Eastern Conference, Western Conference. That will change the nature of where you're at and relative to the playoffs, but it seems like parallel tracks. Philly, what they're doing is very dynamic, and I worked with Sam in Houston, so to get him back, you guys obviously know how I feel about the Spur program, so I'm just tickled that we're able to bring Danny back to Wasatch Front. We know what he means to the community. It wasn't a hard sell, luckily, to get the Celtics back, but we're going to have some high lottery picks in our building, and so I'm really looking forward to Energy Solutions, that lower bowl being filled up. And I said this on the radio this morning, that our fans should know that this is an event where we can pull back the curtains a little bit. We're not going to be as tense and pent up, because while the games do matter and the development matters, we understand that the draft season matters and the summer league matters. So we want to really have an interactive event. So our business side has really come up with some cool ideas, and we look forward to sharing with our fans.